Oh, it was so satisfying to see Luffy go next level. Gear 2, Jet Pistol, Jet Bazooka, fuck yeah! One Piece, Chapter 388, Gear 2.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and fellow gear users of the Nerd Nation. I'm so excited I can't even talk. I, as always, am Jim. I think I'll probably have to look at my ID and see if I still am. But anyway, I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and gear-filled tale, chaotic tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with, of course, the force that you would say has the rest of the Straw Hats for the most part. With Nami and Chopper and Zoro and Sanji, all of course, busting into the courthouse and then just trying to make their way up to the top of it so they can actually go out the back. And once the drawbridge is lowered by the other two teams, that are being headed up by members of the Frankie family, Mozu and the other one, I can't remember her name, but anyway, whatever. And then of course Luffy just going and just kind of doing something and gearing up and going to the next level. He calls it Gear 2, and that was really how things left off, though. So things pick up right there with the Luffy and Blueno thing, right? And Blueno's like, what is this, some kind of trick? You're steaming and stuff like that. What are you trying to be a steam engine or whatever, And Luffy's talking about how his powers have evolved to the next level and this and that, And then he goes and he's just like, Gum Gum! And then, and then Blueno's thinking, oh yeah, I'll just use my shave technique and move or whatever. He goes to use it, Luffy winds up going and pulling out in this great shot over here, dude, that just is freaking just beautifully drawn. He's just, Gum Gum! And then, boom! Jet Pistol! He winds up jacking him up with one of those, right? And Blueno's like, what the because he's trying to move out the way. He thinks he's okay, He winds up getting nailed. Luffy nails him with a stamp, hits him with a Gum Gum stamp, nails him. And Blueno's like, holy shit. Luffy figured out how to use the 6 powers technique, the shave technique, how to be able to move that fast, to be able to get around and be able to jack him up, And it's amazing to him that he could actually learn that and learn it, obviously, so quickly and this and that. So Blueno, after he winds up taking a couple of hits, goes and uses an air door and disappears kind of into just, I don't know, I guess you'd call it like the thinny, just the thin air around. And he's in there and he's kind of like catching his breath and he's like, man, somebody who's mastered the 6 powers is unmatched in speed and strength and everything else. That, I have to go and trap him in one of my doors, and basically use all my power to take him out now. So he winds up going and appearing in a little portal, an air door, like right behind Luffy, and goes to lunge to nail him or whatever, right? And Luffy dodges out of the way. Just beautiful how it was done. Here, Luffy just dodges the fuck out of the way, man. And dodges him, and then winds up going to nail him. And then he goes and gears up, literally, and he's just, Gum Gum! And what I love about this is that Luffy, here, he explains it. He says, I figured this out. I noticed that when you look like you've disappeared, when he does the shave technique, your feet are hitting the ground more than 10 times each instant to move, right? I figured out, I figured out how to do it. I'm glad I know that technique for moving exists, and I'm like, oh my god. So Luffy just figured it out by, like, perceiving it, by just watching. Gum Gum, and then he goes to do it, and then he's just like, iron body strength, and he's thinking in his mind, he's like, you know what? I'll just go and I'll take this hit, I'll be good, right? And Luffy, now everything's Jet Bazooka! Boom! And I mean, just jacks him up, and you just feel the impact when you look at this. When you look at the motion lines and when you think about Luffy just going, and just every muscle in his body just at its full capacity as far as just the strength and just everything at its complete, uttermost, like just so tense that honestly you could just frickin' snap, and just Gum Gum Jet Bazooka! And man, I just love seeing that. Absolutely beautiful and just drawn so well. So you got, Blueno looks like he took it like a champ, He looks like he took it like a champ. Looking, he's like, all right, looks a little dazed, but he's like, no, because he iron-bodied up, right? He iron-bodied up. And then Luffy's standing there, and he's like, hold on a second. He's like, you know what? You're pretty durable. So you know what I'll do? Here, wait, he says, you sure are sturdy. Yeah, then I'll show you something even more interesting. And he comes up, he's like, watch this. And he's like, gear. And he puts his finger in his mouth over here, and Blueno just goes and fucking just hits the ground, knocked out, got nothing left. I mean, the only thing that would have been funnier is if he was in a position where his head was in his own ass, but which Luffy probably could have arranged, but hey, don't add insult to injury, right? And then Luffy goes, he's just like, oh man, I'm really tired. My body still can't keep up. Oh well, that's all right for now. My body doesn't matter. I need to move ahead, and obviously we know he needs to get to the Tower of Law and get to Robin over there. But man, I just love the way it was depicted, how he took out, and it gives you some hope now, obviously, you know? I mean, to tell you the truth, these last dozen or so chapters, this entire volume has just been so action-packed. But Luffy going and doing that, and I hope we get some more of an explanation as to, you know, what he actually did to evolve his powers, and if there, of course, is any drawback or detriment other than him getting maybe tired quicker or something like that. So those are some of the things that obviously I think about with that. But then, for the most part, the rest of the chapter goes and takes place and shows us the fighting going on every front over there. We see stuff in the left tower, and we see stuff in the right tower. And as they're obviously trying to fight and get up through there with the Frankie family members, and then, of course, Mozu and, God, for some reason, the other one just escapes me now. It'll hit me right after I'm done recording. But anyway, you know, they're fighting up there to get to the levers to drop the drawbridge, right? You see Yokozuna and some of the Frankie family that's going and guarding that hole that Zoro cut through the giant stone doors into the courthouse, keeping any guards from coming through there, because it's a bottleneck type thing, you know, to where, hey, listen, if we can keep them from getting through here, then thousands won't flood in and get in behind everybody, right? And you've got the Frankie family that's going and taking out the Chief Justice, or at least trying to keep him occupied. Zoro and company, they're all working their way up to the top over there. Zoro looks like he's tangled up with a couple more of those ball and chain users, those dingalings, that the 11 judicial jurors or whatever they are. And I say dingalings because they're like, guilty, guilty, guilty. And Zoro's like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You know, and he's taking them out. Sanji's going balls to frickin' deep into everything. And then you go and you even see from the main part of the island over here, you go and you see the damn giants, you know, Oimo and Kashi just taking guys out, man. I mean, just by the dozens, by the shitloads. All hell is breaking loose, all complete chaos, and it's great because you get like guys like Tilestone, Lulu, Paul, you know, they're all, oh man, this is great that the giants are fighting with us now, you know, and Usopp's like, oh hell yeah, you know, like, hey, listen, that's, you know, and he says something about the connection between great warriors run strong, you know, and that type of stuff. But the bottom line is that it's things are looking cool, and we also see this great thing too from Kokoro, where, you know, Chimney's like, man, they got giants too, this is so cool, and Kokoro's like, listen, regardless of what happens here, win or lose or whatever, this is the first time in 100 years that something like this has happened, that somebody's gone and taken on the world government like this with like this full frontal assault. And regardless of what happens, win or lose, they're going to be noticed by the world. They're going to change the way the world looks at them, you know. So I'm expecting bounties to go through the roof after this one, because obviously we didn't get any bounty increase for anybody, you know, after Skypiea, and of course, you know, Sanji still doesn't have one, which bothers him. But and Zoro makes sure he doesn't, you know, that he doesn't forget about it. But the bottom line is that, you know, I think things are going to go just through the roof once this eventually does get to the end. So the ending of the volume, though, I thought was great, because you go and you have, again, just kind of shows pictures of everybody. It ultimately goes in the last page, which was really done very well, is it actually shows the Tower of Law, you know. And this is while Kokoro is saying this, and I picture her kind of saying this speech, you know, as there's a bunch of cool stuff going on and happening, you know. And she's saying a speech, she's like, when the fight is over, the world will ring with the sound of that Straw Hat Boy's name. And then you just see Luffy, and he's standing up over here, right, looking up at the you know, the Tower of Law or whatever, and he's just like, Robin, I've come for you. And then we got over, look at that, we got Frankie, and Frankie's just like, oh, look at that, he came. And then we've got Robin, she's just kind of like, Luffy. You know, she's still got an irritated look on her face because, you know, she's scared, obviously, with the Buster call and everything else, and she thinks what she's doing is the right thing. But anyway, and then you got Spandam over here, and Spandam looks like Spandam looks like he might be getting finger fucked by an iron bar right now. He looks like somebody might have taken an umbrella, stuck it up his ass, and opened it, right? Doesn't he? Luffy's just fucking like, I'm coming. And that's the way the chapter and the volume ends, man. It's great. We get this big old, this double page spread here about Rescue Robin and this and that. It kind of shows everybody and where they're at, all the buildings and whatnot on the, you know, on the island, on Eni's lobby. Just absolutely wonderful stuff. Just gorgeous. And man, I tell you, another one bites the dust. But boy, I tell you, it's like, you know, it's bittersweet, you know what I mean? It's like, oh man, I love it so much, but then I'm like, okay, I gotta move on to the next one, you know. But anyway, my chapter question for you though, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts on Luffy and obviously his newfound power, this Gear 2, and really just what he was able to do to the CP9 member Blueno, who we know is no pushover by any means. But certainly to be able to do what he did in just a handful of moves using the stamp and the jet pistol, the jet bazooka, I think was pretty profound. Because again, 20-30 chapters ago, when they met up, yeah, Luffy didn't have as much to push him forward to fight for, but at the same time, I mean, they didn't even look like they'd have a fighting chance. It'd be a cold day in hell before they got a hit in on one of these guys, and Luffy just went and knocked one of them out. So let me know what your thoughts are though on Gear 2, and of course just the great and awesome tale that this is, and in the ending especially, how Luffy was just like yelling, "Robin!" I thought that was so well done. And so profound, and like I said, this is on such a cool, epic scale that, man, it's unbelievable. Absolutely love it. Let me know what your thoughts are, though, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next nation.
Remember to follow me on my other channels, as well as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, too.